The first time you pick up the iPad Pro, here's what you're gonna say. This thing is huge, and it is. At 12.9 inches, this is the biggest tablet Apple has ever made. It feels almost ridiculous at first. From a hardware perspective, it really does just feel like a huge iPad. At 6.9 millimeters thick, it's actually thinner than the iPad Air. But at 1.5 pounds, it's like holding 1.5 iPad Airs or 2 iPad Minis. It's big. You can hold it pretty comfortably in 2 hands, but if you hold it in one, you're either gonna drop it or accidentally club somebody in the head with it. It's also every bit as fast as you'd expect an iPad to be. The A9X processor inside is super powerful, and even on a screen this high res, I've never seen a game or app so much as stutter. Pro's display is 12.9 inches diagonal, 2732 by 2048. Those numbers are huge, but they really break down to 2 things. One, you can just see more of an app at once. You can see the interface and whatever you're working on instead of having to tab through menus and constantly go looking for things. On the other hand, you can actually put 2 apps side by side, and they basically run like full-sized iPad apps in portrait mode. You're not getting 2 small, winnowed-down browsers. You're getting 2 full-sized apps. That's how Apple thinks you'll use this most, and I think that's exactly right. That's the kind of thing that makes the iPad Pro feel much more useful than other tablets, even than other iPads. You can have your spreadsheet on one side, your research on another, and even float a Hulu window on top and have it all work all at once. This extra size manifests itself in all kinds of different ways. For one thing, there are 4 speakers on the iPad, 1 on each corner, and it will automatically change depending on how you're using it, so that you'll always get really loud stereo sound. The keyboard also is the same size as a laptop keyboard, so you can almost touch type. You get used to it much faster than you would a normal iPad. These are small things, but they add up to something big. It's a tablet that you can use the way you work without having to constantly rethink everything. Work, by the way, is really what the iPad Pro is about. You get the tablet itself starting at $799 with 32 gigs of storage. It comes in gold, silver, and space gray, just like every other Apple device. But you're really not getting the full iPad Pro experience until you also buy 2 accessories: the Apple Pencil and the Smart Keyboard. The Pencil, for its part, is great. It requires some developer buy-in to really work properly, but once it does, it's about the most accurate and smoothest way you can draw on your iPad. If you want to draw, doodle, or just sketch, this is great. But it's still just a stylus. Neither the Pencil nor the apps have the same power or flexibility that you'd get from something like Photoshop or Illustrator on the desktop. Right now, the iPad Pro is a great accessory for a pro, not a tool that's going to replace everything you already have. But for the prosumer or just somebody who wants to mess around, it's wonderful. The Smart Keyboard, on the other hand, isn't quite up to the same standard. It's built into a cover, which is neat, and it'll just clip on and flip over to protect the iPad Pro's screen. Or you can unfold it and use it as a stand for the keyboard. The mechanism itself is a little bit awkward. You kind of have to swan dive it into place, but once you get it there, it's pretty sturdy, and the keyboard is actually really good. The problem is there's not enough you can do with it. If you're a person who loves keyboard shortcuts or likes to navigate around with your keyboard, you're kind of out of luck here. There are a few. You can use Command-Tab to switch between windows, Command-Shift-H to go home, Command-Space to do Spotlight, things like that. But there aren't keyboard shortcuts within most apps, and even the ones that do are very few. The keyboard is for typing, nothing else. The iPad Pro is not going to replace your laptop. Not until you can organize all your windows exactly the way you want to, and not until developers decide that this thing is for capital W work and start building their apps accordingly. In that sense, Microsoft Surface Pro is actually closer to the mark. It has all the features you want in a sort of imperfect form factor. This is exceptional hardware, but with a limited feature set. But whatever you decide to use it for, this is the most versatile, powerful, capable iPad ever. It's great for watching movies, playing games, browsing the web, even doing some work. It's expensive, and it's huge, but it's pretty great.